What's up, y'all? So, we're going to talk about one of the most simple, maybe most overlooked things in the entire guitar. We're going to myth some busts, and we're going to probably call out a gimmick or two, which is always kind of fun. I like this kind of deal. Let's do that today. What's going on? So, my name is Dylan. This is Dylan Talks Tone. We talk about guitar tone, guitar tech, all that kind of stuff. If you like guitar stuff, hit the like button. That's all there is to it. If you like guitar stuff, it's worth doing. Probably one of the most simple overlooked things in all of the guitar is the output jack. And yes, it is an output jack, not an input jack. The input to the guitar is your fingers and the pickups. The output to the amp is the output jack. This is a Switchcraft jack. A version of this, or some generic version or import version, has been in every guitar for like almost 100 years, right? Like, these things are, it's an output jack. What else do you need to know? I mean, the plug goes in there, clicks in, makes sense, right? Every 15 years, if you play a lot, or 10 years, or however many, you have to replace it once in a while. It costs about, what, $4, something like that. Not a big deal. You know, we don't really think twice about output jacks. Until this company called Pure Tone came along and made this other one. This Pure Tone jack, right? And this is one of those things where people have been asking me forever and ever and ever. Hey, can you make a video about the Pure Tone thing? Is it a gimmick? Is it, like, cool? Does it work? Like, what's so awesome about it? And the Pure Tone jack has been one of those things that I have kind of avoided making a video about because it's not very often that I mean, people accuse me of it in every Gibson video, but I don't bash stuff. Yes, I point out realistic things about things that people may not like to hear, but I don't typically actually bash a product. And when I do, we run it over with the Jeep, and you know for sure that I think it's stupid, right? Okay, I didn't want to do that with this product because I didn't care about it. I didn't think it was that important. But the other day, I was thinking to myself, you should probably look more deeply into some of this stuff that you think is a gimmick, just to make sure that you are being fair to everything. Now, the stuff that I've run over with the Jeep, it's fairly well documented. But the stuff that you haven't made videos on, you probably should dive into that some more. So I went to the website, and I looked over their website. And we're going to break down, is it a gimmick or not, when we read the marketing on their website. The Pure Tone website. The patented Pure Tone jack contains dual tension grounds and dual positive tips for optimal signal and lowest possible noise. Okay, it does contain that. Does it do that? 100% greater surface area at all contact points creates a more stable connection. Okay, so obviously we only have 2 contact points on a Switchcraft jack. Now, I would actually argue with this Pure Tone site and say that they have more than 100% contact, because when you have this flat little spot right here that touches the side of a round surface, then only a fraction of that is actually going to be touching. Look at this awesome macro shot that I took with my Moment lenses on my iPhone. You can see that it barely touches. And it doesn't actually fit perfectly in that little groove that it's supposed to fit in. So we take that for granted when we plug our guitar in, that that's all going to mate up perfectly, and it just doesn't. And this is a Switchcraft jack. And a high quality cable too, not a cheap cable. So here we go. So now we know that that doesn't touch very well. That's interesting. Now it does, but that's interesting. How well does it need to touch? That's the question. And then if we look on the ground side, we can see that the only contact it's making is basically this center pin pushing the plug kind of crooked in there against the side of the ground sleeve. That's not very much contact. Now let's look at the Pure Tone. I love these macro lenses. I'm going to use them all the time. Not only does it have a backup tab on the other side, right? Like for security, there's 2 of them. But also look at the way it's stamped. There's those little like kind of half round. It actually has more contact surface because they actually make it kind of the shape of the jack and not just flat against a circle, which I think is very cool. So there's a lot more contact area here than there is on a Switchcraft. That's very cool. Now the question is it that important? Let's read some more of their marketing. So I think we have a good stable connection, okay, first of all. Second of all, as a result, high and low frequencies are greatly improved, creating a much more balanced sound while eliminating frequency spikes. Okay, we're going to read the rest of this and we'll get back to this because it's all connected. No more noise crackle caused by pressure grounds. I like that. I do. I think that's cool that you have a backup in there. There's more than one prong holding everything together, and it's a lot. The surface area is a lot better. Very cool. Probably not much crackle will ever happen. I dig it. The pure tone jack allows for increased current handling at 500 volts for high current applications. This sentence does not apply to the guitar at all because we're only talking about minimal current, actually probably not even measurable by most meters or most instruments that we are capable of using. Not much at all. Voltage, we're not 500 volts. We're probably, with an active pickup, maybe 500 millivolts. Not even, like, no, nowhere near anything. I mean, a normal passive humbucker is like 350 millivolts. We're talking nothing. This is nothing. Put your tongue on it, you ain't gonna feel nothing. I mean, this is nothing, okay? So that sentence does not even apply. Tension to design locks cable securely in place. Yes. While increased metal mass carries more signal. Ooh. So that means we're gonna have more tone. Now, as long as the connection is good, which means there is sound coming from your guitar and there is no crackle, you have enough mass, you have enough to pass the signal in the guitar. It does not take basically any mass to carry the amount of signal, current, voltage in the guitar. You're not going to lose anything by using a Switchcraft unless it's crackling or you have a loose connection. Okay, period. Why can we say that? It comes back to the amount of signal that's in the guitar. Why would mass matter? Let me show you. This is a car battery in my Jeep. This has a massive cable on it, probably 6 gauge, something like that. That is needed to carry the amount of current that is necessary to start the Jeep. Basically that one instance where it needs all of that current. We're talking lots of current. Very low voltage, but lots of current. If we were to use a very small and poorly contacting Switchcraft plug on the end of this cable and slipped it over the battery terminal, the Jeep would not start. Because as you may or may not be aware, if this has ever happened to you, if this is loose at all, your Jeep won't start. Or it will try to start, then it won't, and it'll start, and then it won't. Good contact is needed here because of the amount of voltage / in this case, more current that needs to pass through this connection. Now, we have another tiny wire over here. This little wire is hooked up in the same exact spot, okay? This is here because it's running my LED light bar on the front bumper. This is a tiny little wire. This is like 18 gauge in comparison to this one, right? And it's got this tiny little crimp-on connector. And it's fine because it's only carrying a fraction of the current, same voltage, fraction of the current that is necessary to ignite and run the LED light bar. Actually, it's LEDs, so it could literally be way smaller than this probably. No current, almost no current being drawn there. So here we have this tiny wire with a tiny connector hooked up in the exact same places as the huge connector with the huge wire for two different purposes. Those two different conditions being that you have two different needs. Same thing in the guitar. We don't need current handling or voltage handling in a guitar, which means we don't need thicker connectors or thicker conductors. This would apply also to the wires that go on the guitar. People think that, oh, that wire is thin and cheap, less tone. Not really. None of that's really necessary. You don't need that much voltage and that much current handling in a guitar. Just don't need it. So why is this pure tone thing so awesome? Reliability. Reliability is the big thing. Is it going to make your guitar sound different? I mean, if your guitar is crackling now and has problems, obviously it's going to be an improvement. If your guitar is not having any problems, the only kind of improvement here is going to be reliability. This is going to be really a reliable little dude. As a result of that, I think on our stuff that we do here, I'm going to switch to them. I think they're really, really cool. Do they do everything that the marketing people say they do? No, but that's normal. Does that make it a bad product? No, I think it's pretty awesome. It actually works really, really well. And again, this is one of those things where I thought it was stupid and I didn't want to waste my time with it. But at the same time, let me go back and look and see. Is that me just being closed-minded? Yeah, probably. Let's take another look and see what it's really about. Okay, as I'm editing this video, I wanted to cut in here. Obviously, I didn't do a sound demo. The reason I didn't is because there's no real measurable quality about this jack, because despite what the marketing stuff says, it's not about the tone, it's about reliability. And there's no real way, even after trying it a couple of different ways, to capture any sort of tone difference. So a sound test doesn't really make a difference. I put it at the end of the video because I just want to see if you're paying attention. The other thing I want to mention is the cable I was demonstrating to you with is the Runway audio cable. I met these guys. One of my friends introduced them to me a couple weeks ago while we were in Nashville, and they are based in Nashville. Everything's made in the United States. People always ask me in comments, where should you get cables from? Because I used to make them, right? And now I don't make them anymore. And here is what I would use, because this is what I am using. There's a link in the description. You can use discount code DylanTalksTone for 10% off your order, because these guys are super cool. The dude that owns it, his name is Austin. He's a super cool dude. Real young guy, knows what he's doing. Pretty awesome stuff. Make sure you check him out. Patch cables and everything. Really cool. They'll build custom pedal boards for you. Pretty awesome stuff. Make sure you check out our live show on Thursday, and make sure you check out our Patreon, because we got a lot of cool stuff going over there. If you didn't hit that like button already, I don't know why, so if you would do that, I would appreciate it. That'd be awesome. And we'll probably have another video on Friday. Thanks for hanging out. There will also be a link to these jacks in the bottom description down there, and my website link is down there too. People keep asking me, like, where do you get your pickup? Where do we get your pickups from? There's a link down there.